dear. My brother-in-law Andy and I were preparing for a filming trip to Mabuasehube on the Botswana side of the Kgalagadi Transfrontier Park. Before we left, we had to get COVID tests since we were technically entering Botswana, even though we were camping and therefore very unlikely to come in close contact with anyone.
How'd that feel, Andy?
That's great. Best day of my life.
We also made all the bookings directly with DWNP and sorted out our filming permit and other necessary paperwork. It's a long way to Kalahari from where we live in Hermanus, near the southernmost tip of Africa, so we set off before dawn and drove the entire day. We filled up with water and fuel and a few last-minute supplies in Uppington, then continued to drive into the night. It was too late to enter the park, so we stayed outside and then left early the next morning to be at the Two Rivers Gate when it opened.
Morning, Andy.
Morning, Rob.
On arrival, we had yet another COVID test. Then we let down the tires, engaged the hubs, and entered the park. On the first day, we drove up to Nossob camp on the South African side of the park. Due to heavy rains earlier in the year, the grass in the park was very long, so we struggled to find many animals.
Come on, Rob, sing it again.
Driving in Kalahari, looking for the cheetah.
That's beautiful.
We did have one lovely sighting of a lion cub with its mom in the road, but unfortunately the cars in the background were in many of the shots. After 2 nights at Nossob, we headed across the border to Mabuasehube.
Having fun, Andy?
The main track to Mabua crosses many dunes en route. Although the driving was not difficult, the steep parts of the track were quite bumpy due to people with heavier vehicles or harder tires spinning their wheels in the soft sand. There is only one track for traffic in both directions, and the dune crests are quite steep, so we resorted to hooting as we approached the top to avoid a head-on collision. We arrived at Mabua entrance gate campsite, set up camp and prepared our dinner. That evening, while we were sitting around the fire, a brown hyena visited our campsite. The hyena was very shy and he did not come close to us. Oh, he's beautiful. He's so fluffy. The next morning, we woke up early to get to the pans before dawn. It was about 6 a.m. It was still dark. We were making coffee and brushing our teeth when I looked up and the eyes of a young male lion caught in the light of my head torch. I said,
Lion, get in the car, Andy.
Once we were in the car, I grabbed my camera and started filming.
It's in our tent.
It's gone in our tent.
Oh my goodness. Okay, we've got a lion here. Robbie spotted it about 8 meters away and it's just gone into our tent.
My coffee is stuck out there with the lion.
Is your boot open?
We noticed that the rear doors of the car were open, so we decided to drive a little bit away, jump out, close the doors, and then come back.
A little bit shaky. Lion just went into our tent.
It was in our tent, and then it came out with Andy's pillow. Now it's sitting under the tree over there, eating the pillow. He's playing with the pillow now.
Not very tasty.
I really hope it is your pillow, Andy.
It was.
Was it?
I'm pretty sure.
Because mine's a similar color. Yeah, is that yours?
Two dogs.
It's covered in slobber now. Yeah, that was a bit scary. Okay, now he's going to go and get my pillow. Oh my dear. We got snacks.
The lion then decided to taste my sleeping bag, which was less amusing, to me at any rate, than Andy's pillow. So we started the car and drove towards the tent, which caused him to drop the sleeping bag and move off a bit.
Could you just drive a bit closer maybe? So let's keep an eye out for others.
The lion was healthy and he was not at all aggressive. He was just curious. He showed no fear of humans or vehicles. What scared me in retrospect is that I had just happened to look in the direction the lion was approaching from. If I had not looked up, or if he had approached from behind the car or tent, we would only have noticed him when he was a couple of meters away. If that had happened, I think I would have run away, which would have been a very bad idea. The lion continued to circle around the tent, so we moved the car as close as we could to the entrance to the tent to stop him from going in there again. While a lion in one's tent is rare, lions commonly enter camps in the Mabua area because uninformed visitors leave taps running or bowls of water out for them, rather than leaving them to live their normal lives in their natural habitat, and this encourages them to visit the unfenced campsites frequently. Most visitors sleep in rooftop tents or caravans, so they are relatively safe, but it is nonetheless important to always be aware when camping in unfenced areas. Once the lion realized he was blocked from entering the tent, he went and grabbed my camping chair and ran off into the bushes and chewed that for a while. Eventually the lion got bored of playing with our things and moved off into the darkness.
You message it.
We have a lion in our camp.
You're telling your family you love them.
No.
The grass was long, so we were not sure how far he had gone, so we jumped out of the car, zipped up the tent and went for our morning drive. We came back a few hours later to assess the damage.
Here's Andy's pillow. Got a bit of lion slobber on it. Otherwise, absolutely fine. Your pillow?
If I can use this again.
Why not? 100%.
Sure.
Let's have a look inside the tent. He's ripped my bag open.
What?
Yeah.
Ripped your bag?
Yeah.
Teeth marks.
Otherwise not too bad in here. It looks like he's also put his teeth into the outside of the tent, which is a bit worrying. It's not very secure, this. Oh dear. Looks like the lion put some holes in our chair.
From the entrance gate campsite, we moved up to Lesholoaho campsite number 3. This is a beautiful campsite overlooking the Pan. It even has a shower with running water, but despite this luxury, there were no mirrors in the ablutions. The Lesholoaho waterhole was not working, so there was not a lot of game on the Pan, but we did film some of the smaller creatures that visited our campsite. After a few nights at Lesholoaho, we moved down to Mabuasehube Pan campsite 3, where we met up with my parents in their Volkswagen camper, who had entered the park from the Botswana side. I'm always careful not to leave water out that might attract animals, so I put our bucket of water on the roof of the vehicle overnight. The next morning we woke up and heard a lion roaring from down on the Pan. I quickly took the bucket off the roof and jumped in the car to go find the lion. We found her about 1 kilometer away and followed her as she walked next to the Pan. The lioness then headed up the hill directly towards our campsite. My mother was standing outside trying to see what we were following, but the grass was long, so she had not spotted the lion. I flashed my lights to warn her and she moved closer to the vehicle. The lioness walked right into our campsite and drank the water I had taken off the car roof before heading off along the road. She looked like she was nursing and was making the soft calls typical of a lioness calling her cubs, so we followed her as far as we could, but we lost her when she entered the thick bush. The most active waterhole while we were in the park was at Mabuasehube Pan, so we spent a lot of our time there. Thousands of doves came to drink in the afternoons, and there were various raptors, jackals, and herds of springbok in the area. In Mabuasehube, you are allowed to get out of your vehicle wherever you feel it is safe, so we usually prepared our meals in the field.
Yeah. Look at that. Kalahari style.
The Mabua area is exceptionally beautiful and wild. There are only about 20 campsites with very limited facilities. Most have long drop toilets, but only a few have running water, and often this does not work. There are no shops at all, so it is necessary to carry everything you need.
Pretty good toilet, actually. Best I've seen yet.
Because of the long grass, finding predators that were not in our campsite was quite difficult, so we concentrated on the smaller mammals and birds, and shot a variety of time lapses of the landscapes. I also spent some time filming moving shots with a gimbal from the roof of the vehicle. This allowed me to get nice smooth motion and to shoot over the tops of the bushes. After saying goodbye to my parents, we headed back over the Dune Road, picked up some supplies in Nossob, then set up camp at Polentswa.
Okay, so Robert set up his home office with a view.
Polentswa campsite overlooks the fossil river of the same name, which was a tributary to the Nossob River. This beautiful campsite is still on the Botswana side of the park, but there are few tracks in the area, so we did most of our game drives on the South African side. There was a lot of lion activity in the area, so we opted to sleep in the vehicle while we were here. It was not terribly comfortable, but when you are sufficiently exhausted, you can sleep anywhere.
What's your plan? How are you going to do this? Because you've got a steering wheel in your way.
Are you recording me? You dirty bastard.
Lots of space. Very comfortable. Hi, Andy.
Night, Robbie.
Sleep tight.
Sleep tight, buddy. Oh, lions, where are you? We want to see you in the morning light.
We spent most of one of our days here with a pair of mating lions. The male was limping, probably from an altercation with a porcupine that had also left a quill in his face. The female was uninjured and even attempted to kill a bat-eared fox when the opportunity arose.
This is Rob filming in line with man making a coffee at the same time. Mad skills, mad skills. And so good.
So good. So good. Morning, Andy.
Morning, Robbie.
Did you sleep well?
Like a bomb.
Nice. I had almost last night, eh? I didn't hear anything. Ready for a coffee?
Oh yeah, thank you.
Chilly, Andy.
Just a tad, but I'm cool, yeah.
Alright, just went down to 0.
From Polentswa, we decided to try the Nossob River side of the park, so we crossed over to stay at Kalahari tented camp for a couple of nights. Giraffes were reintroduced to this area in 1998, and their population has grown well since then. After Kalahari tented camp, we moved to Reserve, the largest camp in the park. One morning we found a cheetah and her 2 cubs on a ridge. We waited for a while and she moved down to the riverbed to hunt. When she thought she might have an opportunity to make a kill, she would tell the cubs to hide and they would remain in the thick bush until she called them again. We followed them for a while, but I was running out of media, so we had to stop at a picnic site to offload for a few hours.
So we just started at a picnic spot and Rob's uploading some media that we shot quite a bit this morning, and he's taking a nap because he's lazy.
Alright, I'm going to quickly show you what's been added to my vehicle since the central Kalahari trip.
Not an awful lot, but I have put a nice shelf up in front of the front seats with charging ports for phones and GPSs and things, and space for sunglasses and whatever else I need to put up there. Around the front I've done a James Bond number plate with a tow hitch receiver in there so I can mount my stabilizer. Currently I'm shooting on this trip, I'm testing out the Blackmagic Ursa Mini Pro 12K, which is working very nicely. Boot time is fantastic, internal NDs are fantastic. Record buttons are a bit hard to find if you aren't looking at them. I'd prefer some bigger buttons, and not having pre-record is a real problem for this sort of work. I'm shooting on a Canon 200 to 400 millimeter lens with a built-in 1.4 times teleconverter. Now I'm still using the same vehicle mount. Down beneath the passenger seat, excuse the mess, I've added a DC-DC charger. Over there in front of my inverter, and that is so that I can effectively charge my new lithium, it's 108 amp hour lithium battery in the back here, which has been working fantastically. And that's about everything.
We returned to the cheetah later that afternoon to find her stalking a springbuck. She remained almost entirely motionless for about half an hour before she eventually decided it was not worth it and returned to her cubs. Unfortunately, the time had come for us to leave the Kgalagadi Transfrontier Park, so we signed out at reception, re-inflated the tires, disengaged the hubs, and started the long journey home.